And then
you touched on basketball there. Did you ever get a chance to play at a high level, or were you a big fan? Would you have loved a career in basketball rather than poker?
I mean, basketball would be great. I've been getting a little time with Draymond Green lately. He and I went on a little trip together for 4 or 5 days, and seeing how hard he works out even on vacation is pretty crazy. Basketball would have been amazing, but I think if you want, you have to be great at basketball if you want to make the big money, right? Yeah. A lot of the guys aren't great. Unfortunately, if you're the 50th best or maybe 100th best basketball player in the world, you don't do as well. Now that's changing, but I love basketball, and I was never world class. I mean, I'm 6'6" almost, and I could dunk, but barely. I probably dunked 5 times. Life. So I didn't have the skills to play basketball.
We're glad you stuck to poker. In 2003, 2004, the poker boom was like, it just exploded. Did you see it coming? What did you think of it at the time?
Yeah, I mean, I remember someone found me in 2004, Michael Kaplan, a writer from New York, and he said, Phil, you told me in the 1990s that they were going to have in stadiums, and everybody laughed at you. And he said, now look, we're having the final in the Penn and Teller Theater. And not just finals, but also I thought there'd be so many. He said, you predicted there'd be so many players that'd fill a football stadium. And he said, you were so right about that. And so, yeah, I saw that coming, but then I didn't see it coming as fast. So I saw it coming in 1995. I thought it would happen earlier at a much slower pace. But no one saw it in 2003 and 2004 and 2005 going on ESPN and exploding that and becoming a global phenomena. I didn't see that much. So, but yeah, I saw poker getting big.
Yeah, and now obviously you're part of the ESPN team that covers the main events, the final tables, the commentating. Do you still get a buzz when you're commentating rather than playing?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I mean, this year was one of my fun little stories. I'm on stage, and whenever it's about once every 2 hours, they cut to me.
Yeah.
And this year it was with Maria Ho, and of course, Kara, who's amazing, and Maria, who's amazing. And so it's the two of them and me. And but I wouldn't commit to doing any of the comment. I wouldn't commit to any of that. Well, there were tournaments still going on. And finally, I'm like, all right. So I played the $5,000 buy-in turbo event. And I think they were rebuys in it this year. So I busted. I went right into the commentary booth. And then I told Maury and I told ESPN, I said, I will be there for the rest of the time, even if I'm in the tournament. So I enter the 5,000 turbo, like literally at the deadline. I go over there and I play for 8 minutes, and then I come back and do the commentary. So I'm already dressed up as a commentator. And then boom, they cut to me live on ESPN and on the global coverage. And that's so much fun for me. It gives me a huge buzz. When you're live in front of millions of people, like I've been live on Anderson Cooper, there's a huge buzz there. Yes. So I got this huge going on. And the minute I'm done, I'm like, am I clear? They're like, yes. And so I disconnect one thing to make sure that they take the headphones off, and I go, but I'm still connected. I can still what's hearing at the final table. And I go right back to play the tournament. And now I got my money in bad, which is very rare for me. Jacks against aces. I mean, I had to as a turbo. I hit a jack. I got it in bad one more time. Maybe it was like ace-4, and the other guy called me with sixes. I hit that. And so I'm getting lucky, which is, not my usual modus operandi as far as getting my money in bad. But I'm hitting some hands, and yes, I admit I was very lucky. And, 2 hours later, now I have to leave the turbo where the blinds are going up this quick. I have to leave the turbo for half an hour to go do my commentary. I have to show up 8 minutes early or 7 minutes early. And so now I'm doing very live from the World Series, but I've been tracking it the whole time. I've been reading the updates as I'm playing. They're sending me the hands that are coming up. I'm listening to what's happening at the table. So I'm informed on what's happening over there. And I do that. So now I go live on ESPN again. And meanwhile, I'm in the tournament over there with chips, and we're getting close to the money. And I believe that I believe that I think we may have hit the money while I was doing the commentary. So then, boom, I finish that. I go right back, and I'm still dressed in my suit, and you know what I mean. But it gives me an excuse to wear the Aria hat live on television, because I told ESPN, I said, listen, if you want me and I'm still a player, I'm going to dress like a player.
Yeah.
So they told all the players they can't wear any logos, any gear, but I'm an exception when I'm in a poker tournament. And so at least I got an excuse to get the Aria live on global television a couple times. And so then I make day 2. So then I think that was it for the night, but I'm hanging out for the coverage. But meanwhile, I make it to the end of the day. And I think there's about 25 of us left. So now next day, I have to do the commentary and play the tournament. And we get to the final table pretty quickly. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be final 4 tournament or 3 in this tournament. I'm going to have to leave for 20 minutes. Will the players at the table stop the tournament for 20 minutes for me? I don't even want to ask, but I'm going to ask when it comes to that. And so meanwhile, I've had to go into makeup and so I'm all ready to go. I'm all in my suit and ready to go. But I'm at this final table and I'm watching the countdown on when I'm going to get needed. And unfortunately for me, I busted in 6th place in the tournament. There were 2 final tables left as the main event final table. This was also the main event final table where they were going to finish it, I believe. Yeah. And so there's 3 tables that are left in that whole hall. There's the one when I left, there were 5 left. There was another one that had 5 left, and then there was the main event. And so so I busted 6th, unfortunately, and I go into my perch up there, and I'm really into just the main event, but I'm looking over, watching the other 2 final tables, which were basically right next door to us. And then and I think they gave me a shout out. It might have also been my birthday that day. So they gave me a shout out for my birthday. They gave me a shout out for just busting 5th in a tournament, or 6th, or whatever it was. It was all kind of a weird thing. And then I was able to just focus on, the commentary for there, because that was it.
Brilliant. Super competitive, we know. 16 cashes last year in the World Series. I think it was 12 the year before. I think there's only 1 year in the last 25 that you haven't cashed in one of the series. Where did the super competitiveness come from?
I mean, it came from, I talk about this in my autobiography. Very simple. I'm the oldest of 5, as I mentioned earlier in the interview. And what I didn't mention is I have ADD, and my athletic skills aren't as good as my brothers and sisters. So as the oldest of 5, watching my brothers and sisters flourish and basically get straight A's, and me getting C's, and then watching them flourish in athletics, they're all doing well in athletics, but I didn't have the same skills that they had. I had to hold on to something for my own sanity, right? When I'm 7, I had a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a baby in my family. For my own sanity, I had to be the best at games. And so every game we played, I had to be the best. So every game we played, I learned from an early age how to devise perfect tactics in all these games. Scrabble, and the fact that I studied Latin, I'm an excellent Scrabble player. All these games that required strategy and skill, backgammon, I learned how to become great at all these games. And so it was a natural progression for me to move into studying poker. All right, how do you become great at poker? All right, you do this, you do that, you do this, and so but that warrior in me, and when I would lose, that's where the poker brat was born. Because if my brothers or sisters rolled double 6s to beat me at backgammon, I was unbearable. Because what did I have left in my life? They were better than me at everything. And so I'd be like, oh my God, you rolled double 6s. That was unbelievable. How did you do that to me? Blah, 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 blah. And I almost made it not fun for me to play with, because if I lost, I was too negative. But that's where the competitiveness came from. And it showed itself in the early years in poker, and it still shows itself. But in the early years, like if somebody beat me one hand, I felt like, and if they outdrew me one hand, I felt like, oh, they're, what else do I have left in life? They just beat me this one hand. And so, yeah, I had some issues I've worked through, but I still think, I still think, I still think that I can be a little bit bratty sometimes. Generally, there are some years where I show up and it's not, and I just realize my position and I enjoy that a little bit more, but most times I'm just, and as the series wears you down and you get tireder and tireder every day, more and more the poker comes out.